A world shaken echoes of war. The world grapples with the human cost of conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. Shockwaves ripple through the international community. These crises reshape geopolitics and extend beyond borders. They deeply affect global immigration and the economy. The Russian invasion shattered peace in Europe, triggering the largest refugee crisis since World War II. In Gaza, violence erupts, causing displacement and suffering. These conflicts challenge the international order. They demand a coordinated global response, addressing humanitarian needs and working towards long-term solutions. The Ukrainian frontline, a struggle for freedom. The conflict in Ukraine is more than just a territorial dispute. It represents a struggle between democracy and authoritarianism. Russia's invasion, launched in February 2022, has been widely condemned. Ukraine, with Western support, has mounted a staunch defense. It has surprised many with its resilience and determination. The conflict has resulted in thousands of casualties and widespread destruction. It has also displaced millions of Ukrainians from their homes. Gaza, a cycle of suffering reignited. The Gaza Strip has been a focal point of conflict for decades. It is a densely populated territory under Israeli blockade for over 15 years. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has resulted in numerous wars and countless casualties. Recent violence has worsened the humanitarian crisis. Airstrikes and rocket attacks have caused widespread destruction. They have claimed the lives of civilians and combatants. The situation in Gaza is a stark reminder of the unresolved Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It highlights the urgent need for a just and lasting peace agreement. The human-tide displacement and the search for refuge. The conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza have unleashed unprecedented waves of displacement. Millions of people have been forced to flee their homes in search of safety and security. This mass exodus has put immense pressure on neighboring countries and the global humanitarian aid system. The war in Ukraine has created Europe's largest refugee crisis since World War II. Over 14 million people have been displaced from their homes. Many have fled to neighboring countries such as Poland, Romania, and Moldova. These countries have shown remarkable generosity in welcoming refugees. However, the sheer scale of the displacement presents significant logistical and humanitarian challenges. The situation in Gaza is equally dire. Thousands of Palestinians have been displaced by the recent fighting. They are seeking refuge in UN-run schools and other shelters. The already precarious living conditions in Gaza have been further exacerbated by the conflict. This has created an urgent need for food, water, medical supplies, and other essential goods. Section 5. Economic tremors. Global markets in the crossfire. The conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza are not merely regional crises. They are having profound economic consequences that are being felt across the globe. These conflicts have disrupted supply chains, fueled inflation, and introduced a new level of uncertainty into the global marketplace. The war in Ukraine, a major agricultural producer, has sent shockwaves through global food markets. Ukraine is a leading exporter of wheat, corn, and sunflower oil. The conflict has disrupted planting and harvesting. It has also led to blockades of Ukrainian ports. This has resulted in soaring food prices and raised fears of food shortages, particularly in developing countries that are heavily reliant on Ukrainian imports. The conflict has also impacted energy markets. Russia is a major supplier of oil and gas to Europe. The conflict has led to sanctions on Russian energy exports. This has triggered a scramble for alternative sources of energy. This has contributed to record-high energy prices. These high prices have fueled inflation and squeezed household budgets worldwide. Section 6. Energy as a weapon, dependence, and disruption. The conflict in Ukraine has starkly illustrated how energy can be wielded as a geopolitical weapon. Europe's dependence on Russian energy has given Moscow considerable leverage. Russia has used this leverage to try and undermine Western support for Ukraine. The weaponization of energy has highlighted the need for energy security. It has also accelerated the transition to renewable energy sources. European countries are now looking to diversify their energy supplies. They are investing in renewable energy projects to reduce their reliance on Russian oil and gas. The conflict has also exposed the vulnerability of global supply chains. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that disruptions in one part of the world can have ripple effects across the entire system. This has led to calls for greater resilience and diversification in global supply chains. Section 7. A world divided, alliances tested. The conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza have exposed deep divisions within the international community. They have tested alliances and raised questions about the future of global governance. The war in Ukraine has solidified the divide between Russia and the West. It has also highlighted the challenges of maintaining a united front in the face of Russian aggression. The conflict has tested the resolve of NATO. It has also revealed the limits of international institutions like the United Nations in resolving conflicts. The conflict in Gaza has reignited tensions between Israel and its Arab neighbors. It has also underscored the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The conflict has revealed the limitations of international efforts to broker a peace agreement. Section 8. Navigating the future towards peace and stability. The conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza present a formidable challenge to the international community. They demand a coordinated and multifaceted response that addresses both the immediate humanitarian needs and the underlying causes of these conflicts. The international community must prioritize diplomacy and dialogue to find peaceful solutions to these conflicts. This requires engaging with all parties involved, including those with whom we may have disagreements. We must also strengthen international institutions like the United Nations. We must empower them to effectively address conflicts and uphold international law. This includes reforming the UN Security Council to make it more representative and effective. In addition to diplomacy, we must prioritize humanitarian assistance to alleviate the suffering of those affected by these conflicts. This includes providing food, water, shelter, and medical care to those in need. Finally, we must address the underlying causes of these conflicts, including poverty, inequality, and political instability. This requires investing in sustainable development, promoting good governance, and addressing the root causes of extremism. The conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza remind us that peace is fragile and that we must all work tirelessly to build a more just, equitable, and peaceful world. Subscribe for more.